Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to the next part of the Yoshitaka mobile platform project, where last time we finally started making the legs and feet here. We got going, and we also learned a valuable lesson of not doing one of these recordings after 4 hours of sanding stuff at work in the afternoon, because that didn't go over too well. So, new day now. It's actually doing blizzard stuff outside, so it's a good day to be inside doing this. And our goal this time is just going to be put on one piece. We're going to do this leg down here, and I decided to change up my design from what we had earlier going on. So before, when I was looking at the image on the side there, I was thinking just kind of having two kind of caps that go on the sides. I could do these out of the hemispheres and kind of carve them down, put them on. We're not going to do that anymore. So idea two for that was I have a whole bunch of these dowels. I could just cut a dowel down to size, pop it on, and kind of carve it over the edge. And we're not going to do that either. We're going to go with option number 3, and I'm going to make the knee, this leg, and another kind of gear on that side all out of a single piece of this 3/4 material, and we're going to have this all be one solid part that goes bam right down here. And once that's done, we can then have a dowel come up from here into the platform itself. But I'm going to hold off on that for the time being in case I want to change the bottom of the platform here. Right now it's super plain because there's no real view or advantage. You're ever going to see the bottom of the platform. I decided not to really do anything with it. But for a little while longer, I'll leave the option open that if I want to put any more detail down there, we can still do that without affecting how this physically connects to it. So our whole goal is to make a very complex piece of turn this into kind of a guard over here, and we're going to carve down a leg portion with it. So this should be interesting. It may not be quantity-wise much being done, but I have a feeling this is going to take some time to do. And I have kind of propped up my model here about as high as it's going to be. It winds up being about 2 1/8 or whatever inches from the ground to the top of the platform here. So this is kind of to scale of what it's going to wind up being in the end, as I take everything apart to get it off the ground, because again, we're going to make some dust. And we don't need some dust over here. And that's all we did. I just have these 3/8 pieces and just kind of stacked them up as need be, and that seems to give me pretty much what I'm looking for in terms of the height on that. Now, let me just get all this stuff out of the way, because the fewer things over here, the fewer things I need to vacuum up afterwards and de-dust and all that, because we will be making more dust. It's going to happen. Alright, that's the mask goes on. Let's see if we can keep things on camera this time. I was doing really bad last time at keeping things on camera, which kind of is a shame because apparently a lot of people seem to watch that one compared to recently. So if you just kind of found my channel and decided to watch that one off the bat, well, sorry. Sometimes that just happens where it doesn't stay 100% on camera. Okay, so first things first, now I can tell this one is the knee joint and this one is the other. I can even mark it. Let's just mark down knee. Big K. Because we're going to be painting over this thing in anyway, so there's no reason not to write on these, because yeah, we're getting painted. This isn't the finished look. So first thing I want to do is just kind of round off this edge. And kind of get a rough shape on this guy to start with. What time are we actually starting at? 4 minutes? Okay, that's par for the course, I guess, in terms of how long it takes me to kind of get going on these. Now, unfortunately, this piece, I don't have a bandsaw, and this piece is now too small to cut with a jigsaw kind of to size. So, first things first, we're going to get our rough kind of, our heavy sanding done right now, and kind of just get the rough look going. Yeah, I'd actually planned on doing this session yesterday, but putting out the Ultra video actually wound up taking longer than I thought.
And by the time I got all that stuff done, I was like, nah, I just don't feel like doing this. Because figure the last one, if you saw that one or not, that one had 14 different slides I put into it. And took a little bit of time just kind of get that prep ready and done. And then I figured it's probably going to wind up being a 3-day weekend because of this storm. Even our clients don't come in on Monday. So I figure if I don't get 2 things done today, being it's Sunday, I'll be fine. I'll still be able to get stuff done on Monday to keep up. So. Okay, so we're getting there. Yeah, once again, if the dust ever gets to me on this, I will walk away for a little bit and I'll come back to this. But goal is going to be at least get this part done this session. Otherwise these legs really will start taking forever if I don't make forward progress on certain things. Which I keep saying things are taking forever. I don't know, it feels like it is. At the same time, we are going faster than I have on the last couple projects. So, we are making progress. Okay, this is a decent amount of material this has to kind of carve through, so this initial carving should hopefully, it'll take a little while to get this part done, but once it is, then we're kind of in there. Kind of need to go a little straighter across. That would help. Alright, trying to make this actually look like a circle is the trick. But I think we're not doing too bad. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's not quite whiteout conditions out there, but it's not looking too great outside right now. That said, it's been doing the snowing all morning and all kind of days so far. And just as I was about to come down and record this, I started hearing it hitting the windows and whatnot, so sounds like we're starting to change into that freezing rain kind of dealie. Which there is a pretty decent chunk of freezing rain aspect coming into this. So, even more reason not to shovel stuff outside. Let the snow kind of block all that freezing stuff from getting on the ground. And then hopefully we can just kind of push the snow out of the way and all the ice on top will go with it. But that's what I thought was last week's snowstorm, kind of snow/ice we got too. It didn't go so well. It took forever to get my truck kind of ready for work in the morning. Okay, so we have a little bit of a blank here, which is all nice and good. I'm hitting the cords to the... I have lots of wireless stuff. I do not have a wireless camera, so I do need to be mindful of hitting that cord.
Okay, so what we want is we're going to want this to kind of fit inside here. So I can do a little carvy carve. I'm just going to take this one step at a time. Okay, so as long as I know... Alright, nose, be good. Alright, so if you're coming in that direction... Oh, that didn't take long. That was a single one. Actually, we're going to start with this. Just to kind of get ourselves a start here. Ay, ay, ay. What is this? I have a mask on. Alright. So that's what you said it last time doing the foot. It wasn't being pretty well exactly this width. So. Yeah, that'll fit in nice and tight when I get in there. It's just a matter of how far up and over do we need you to be to make this work. We're getting there. It may burn through the wood, but part of how this works. That's all part of the game. Just burning through the wood is definitely part of the game. Okay, so it's getting in there kind of what I want it to. Let's see. Now, how do we get inside this? That's going to be the real trick. Also, that knife did not feel like it was set very well. Alright, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get this. Okay, so we're in there, which is fine. What we need at this point is to get some of this back edge kind of carved down a little bit. Yeah, very likely getting my guilty pleasure tomorrow of the snow day from work. It's one of those, some things just never grow out of. I don't know. But see how the roads and all that are in the morning. We've had forecasts for as much or as little as like a quarter-inch of ice coming in, and as much as an inch or so of ice coming down on top of this snow. Although I think right now it's set to be between a quarter-inch and half an inch, but I have seen higher totals, and I think that's going to be the big determinant on what's going on tomorrow. Alright, I'm facing in a way that you can't see anything I'm doing. But it has to be done. Okay, let's see, where's my knife? We're a little tight on this side. Alright. Alright, I do have, yeah, it's the knee point. He's going to come in here, and we're getting close. So if I want you, what are we kind of facing? We're facing something like that. I probably want a little more off the top. We need to go just straight up deeper in here. And we need this wall to not be circular like it is. We need to straighten things out. Okay, now we're starting to fit a little bit better, except I keep going the wrong direction. Our leg comes down that way, so we need to go in just a little bit more. Well, probably more than just a little, but this stuff, again, this is why we're showing the whole thing, because anything we need to do will take time. It's not just a little whim bam bibbity bop done. If I want to get in there, we do need to go a little bit more this direction. Get that kind of started. I can use this to kind of square off everything. Yeah, running the next kind of week or so. I know I'm kind of putting out the ultra stuff, but it's going to be a little more of a challenge this week, kind of trying to get out and get miles and stuff in on that front. It's just, again, it's going to depend how fast and how thorough they can get rid of. They can kind of remove snow from the roads and whatnot. But yeah, it's not going to be one of those easy weeks to get things done. But it should be kind of fun, because if nothing else, we're getting a full moon, I think, by the end of the week. That, when you have snow on the ground and a full moon, if you've never done or seen that before, it's one of those special moments. It's really fun doing it with that scenario, so I'm looking forward to that when it comes. But otherwise, hopefully there'll be less traffic because of all this stuff going on. There should be less traffic on the road, which is nice. There'll probably be less probably be less people out and about. Just kind of like, I don't know, I really like winter running. It's just calm, it's quiet, it's just kind of, I guess peaceful is kind of the phrase I'd go for. It's just a fun time to get out there. And it's usually, yes, it's usually cold as all get out, but you do get the benefits from that. It's a gorgeous time to be out, especially when there's kind of stuff on the ground, or if you got like, especially if you have a little bit of snow on the ground and either the moon showing or you have like just kind of a light dusting kind of coming down when you're running. Both of those scenarios are just, they're so good. Okay, let's just say for all intents, we're in there at this point. For that, it might need a little more tweaking, but okay, good. For all intents, that's kind of what we're looking for on that. Again, it's going to need to push up in here a little more, but let's go off of that and move on to something else. And that something else is going to be creating more dust. So let's see if my nose can do this. Because now what we want to do is we want this knee joint and the joint up here to kind of pop out a little bit, so we're going to carve the rest of this down just a little. And my nose is already not doing too great right now. So if this thing triggers me to go off and start sneezing, then I'm gonna take a break for like a half hour like I did last time and come back. But if I can get this part done real quick, that'll do wonders. Okay, there we go. This way it can look like it's separate elements, but it'll have the strength of just being one solid piece, which is nice in terms of trying to keep everything together, keep everything from falling apart. That's down on one side of it, and we do need to do the other side as well. There is some level of symmetry going on here. Can you even see? Okay. I had to look over because sometimes I've realized my glove is kind of hiding everything that I'm doing. So I do want to make sure you can still see some things. Alright, so we got the kind of two edges. Then we just kind of go and connect the dots in the middle. Okay, I need to go a little bit deeper here to match the other side. But overall impression is it's turning out kind of okay. It's doing what I want it to do.
And despite those 2 sneezes earlier on, my nose is actually doing okay right now as well. So we're going to take that as a win so far. So far as I'm concerned, that is a win. My nose is not going any more crazy since the first couple minutes. Okay, so from top we have a little bit of reveal going. So it's getting a little bit more like what I want it to be. Trying to pick stuff up with the glove. Now this is definitely not fully formed, but let's at least get ourselves kind of started here in terms of looking okay, being nice and smooth before we jump onto the next part. Okay, so I have that. We have the knee joint, we have the other. We're going to go in there. We're getting going. Getting going good. So from here, give me 1 second. I want to pull up my own image here, what I'm going off of. We're going to have kind of from the base to something like this. Something like that down there. That was, yeah, kind of from the base. And we're going to do kind of what we have going on with the top of the platform, where if we take top of the platform, we had, I can't see what's on the image. This top part kind of then had a curve, had the base piece underneath that was kind of carved in. You know, I'm kind of going to be doing the same general feel here. Got this top part, it's going to be overlapping the bottom. So now from here, I want to carve the bottom down even more. I'll always start the thing at not high enough RPM. It's always going to be way too low when I start it. It's like a fact of life. Okay. We're getting there. Alright, whether or not we finish off this element, it's going to be kind of immaterial at this point. At least it's going to look decent by the time I get to the end. Where are we? We're getting close to half an hour, which is just turning a lot like the painting parts that I've done recently, where time is just kind of going. Time is just kind of going. Alright, so I'm just doing this carving down the edge. Carve down an edge. And when you have both ends cut and you use this, it gives it some place to kind of end at. You can just kind of pull it off. Easy peasy. Even if I need to go a little deeper. Not much, just a little. Okay, this slide needs a little bit of the same treatment. Because again, symmetry. Symmetry is a thing.
that. Okay, look on the bottom, we're kind of nice from a little bit. Let's just do that. Where did my little sandpaper go here? Okay, and then from here I want to round off the top a little bit because again, we're not really dealing with a lot of hard edges on this model. There are a lot of soft edges. So let's go and round this off. Other side as well. Can't do just one side, gotta do both. Alright. I think it needs a little bit more in here. Yeah, trying to make everything feel like it's right is always kind of a trick. Oh, there we are. I'd rather use the smaller piece than the bigger one. Alright, so we have that going. We have you in here. We have that doing its thing. Let's actually trade you for this guy. This feels like it is part and parcel with our circle there. Let's just kind of actually separate the two. I guess if we're doing that, might as well separate the bottom here as well. And we're straightening out some of these edges. Okay, that gives a little bit more on that. What am I looking for? Looking for you. Come on. Gotta hold this thing correctly. Carve you down just a little bit along the edges here. Okay, So that's in there. So now we have even more, a little more, we have, okay, that is the knee at least. We have a little more detail kind of going in that. So now our knee is hooking in down here. Let's see, what else do I want to have? I kind of want to make a channel in here to put another piece, to put kind of a dowel in that, but you're not really going to see it. And I can probably just carve a dowel enough element out of this. Let's see, so what I want to do, give me 1 second to pop up my computer here real quick. What I'm going to do with this, because in the end, in the drawing, this kind of line comes in here and that kind of wraps around and does something. And it looks like it kind of comes in and curls in a little bit. So, does it serve any practical purpose for doing that? No. We gonna do it anyway? Absolutely. This project isn't necessarily about making sense, it's just making something that looks cool. Be honest. Round off this bottom. We can bring that down. Kind of rounding off the back end of this. Yeah, the main focus is kind of make things soft. We're all about kind of having soft edges on these things. There are very few hard edges on really any of this artwork that we've done that I'm basing this off of. Okay. All I'm doing now is kind of bringing that point into the bottom here. Alright. So that's going to save from putting a little kind of dowel piece in that. Yeah, now we have this kind of comes, it wraps around down in and kind of folds into this little crevice on the bottom. Yeah, just soften things up, soften things up, soften things up. That's all we're trying to do is just soften everything up. Also, kind of pretending like we have straight lines on stuff as well. That would be helpful. Straight lines where they need be. Realistically, we're looking at still a little wobbly. And a lot of the detail is kind of underneath where you don't even see it, which is kind of a shame. But I think in this type of situation, we want kind of the armor stuff on top and underneath. Which again, for practicality purposes, if you're out in like inclement weather or whatnot, you're going to have your shield kind of on top, and underneath would be a little less protected. But yes, that's going to go in there. You're going to go kind of there. Thing is, this is all, once again, I have my computer screen taken up by other stuff. That's going to wind up being kind of, in general, our foot. We do need to go up into this a little bit more, but I could actually take some off of this. I could do a little bit of that, and that will also help kind of push this up to where I want it to be in here, which that's actually not too terrible. And we kind of, yeah, we have an underside that has, again, it's hard to see with the reveals on all this because this is all one color, but if I do painting on here, or when I do painting on there, I can make it stand out a little bit more. But that's generally what we're looking for. I almost want some kind of detail on the knee joint. What do you want to do for that? What do I want to do for that? Because it feels just too plain right now. Okay, I'll need just a little bit of a reveal on the side. Doesn't need much, just a little bit of a reveal, just to give it something. A little more on this one side. so at least a little bit of reveal going on in there. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't need much. It just needs something. I could add another vertical kind of line coming down here a little bit. I think we already have a line right down here and one there. So you see the edge, that piece, this piece, the top edge. I'm not sure we need another vertical line on this. I think that's going to be fine, just kind of being as it is. But yeah, for right now, I think we have ourselves a leg going. We're getting somewhere. And next time, like I said, what ultimately I'm going to have is probably a dowel that kind of comes up from here. It's going to be really short, that goes to kind of like another sprocket on the bottom, or another gear kind of on the bottom, so it can swivel one way, or with this guy, you can kind of go up and down. It kind of gives you the options. But I think, like I said, I'm going to hold off on that until I can kind of hold off on that part until I figure out if I want to do any more detailing on the bottom of the platform itself. But no, that's pretty much what we have now. We're continuing with this, and next time I can either do the other front foot or the other kind of front leg area, now that I have this guy kind of going and kind of figured out, or I'm going to start figuring out kind of the back leg and do the other leg kind of off camera, depending what my freeze time looks like. We're gonna go ahead with that. So more progress being made, more tangible progress being made. This is good. And yeah, until next time. Let me get my fingers out of the way. Until next time, enjoy.